This is a video by Providence Designs. Today we're going to look at how to create a button graphic. And we're going to use a program called GIMP, GNU Image Manipulation Program. And so we're going to start out, we're going to go to File, New, and you want to set it to a width of 100 and a height of 28. You can adjust this some as well to get a different size logo that you want, but this is generally a good starting point. We'll also go into advanced options, and the fill with option, we want transparency here. Let's go ahead and click OK. And now the image is kind of small, so we're going to make this a little bit larger, and I'm going to hold down Control and wheel mouse up to zoom in a little further for us. Alright, so at this point what we want to do is create a new layer for the button. This way we can kind of keep things grouped, and in case we want to add and remove things, we can just hide the layers. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to call that button. So I've got my button layer selected, and I'm going to grab my selection tool, and I'm going to select most of this area as close to the edges here, fairly close to the edges here, and select that space, and I'm going to fill it. I'm just going to use this orange that I have selected, or you can select a different color here. So we can either use our paint can, and that's going to just fill one color in here, but what I'd like to do is give it a gradient look, and that's going to give the button sort of a three-dimensional look to it. So I have white as my alternate color here, my background color. So I'm going to use the gradient tool or blend tool, and this is going to use both of these colors. So it's going to blend from one to the other. I'm going to start at the bottom so that it's going to go from orange up to white. Drag that and try to keep that line pretty straight, and then go ahead and drop that on there. So once we shrink this down to the normal size again, once we zoom back out, that'll give it a really nice three-dimensional look to the button. So that gives us our button. And then at this point we want to, if you'd like, we could create a border for that. So if you want to create a border, let's create a new layer again and call that border. And we still have our selection from where we selected the button, so I'm going to modify that selection under select and say border. I'm just going to use a 1 pixel border and modify that, and see that changed our selection to just be this border area. I'm going to zoom in a little more there because we're going to fill that border in. And now I just want to use black for this, so I'm going to reset it with this back to black, and just use the paint can. We don't need a gradient here. So I'm going to fill that in. So now we have our border. Zoom back out a little bit. Okay, and now that we have our border, the last step we have is just adding text. I'm going to switch to white text and switch to my text option here. So I'm going to draw my text area that I want to use, and we're just going to call this one button. Now I'm going to do Shift and Home to select the text that I just entered there, and then I'm going to make that a little bit smaller. I don't need it quite that big for this, and I want to make it bold. So I'm going to select the bold option. Now if we if we didn't make our initial box big enough, we can grab one of these handles and adjust that to make it larger. Alright, so I'm going to switch over to the Move tool, and then I can I have to click on some of the actual text to be able to grab it, and this just lets me move it a little bit and center it to where I'd like it. Now it does look a little blurry, but that's just because we're zoomed out. Or zoomed in rather. So if I zoom back out, then we should see what that's going to look like. Alright, so we're done with creating that. We can go ahead and save this. You want to do File and then Save, and this will let you save the XCF file. And the XCF file is the actual GIMP file that keeps all of these layers preserved. So if you want to do any further editing in the future, then you want to make sure that you save the XCF file. So you want to make sure to save that, and then you'll also want to export this. We want to export this as a PNG file. So when you click Export, you want to make sure to click Export again here, and then that's going to export your PNG file, and you'll be able to use that on a website or wherever else you wanted to use that. And that's all for this video, and thanks for watching.